Hello and welcome back to Voice of Lights. In this video I'm going to be showing you Frontier Stations. It's a new game by Jeremy Leonard, who gave us Darkest Nights from Victory Point Games. This one's co-op, 3 to 6 players, but the truth is I play solo. Strangely, they've only given it a solitaire rating of 5, but I think it should be right up here at 9. It's really good. It's really good. I'm really enjoying this one. But what I'm going to do is, instead of giving you the whole playthrough from the beginning, I've taken the game just a few turns away from the end, because as the game reaches its climax, it's when it gets most exciting. So that's what you see set up before you here. I've set up a 3-player game. There is a minimum of 3, so if you're going to play solitaire, you've got to manage 3 stations. And there's a combination of different things going on here. This is the threat deck, and kind of like Ghost Stories. If you've seen Ghost Stories, it's, you know, you've got to make your way through the deck without losing the game, and that's how you succeed. So you can see I've got just 4 cards left, and there's 2 decks. There's early threats and late threats, and these are the things that are driving the game along. And we have 3 stations, these areas here. Okay, in between each station are the threats that have been played and the threats that are in play. Right, and we've got to survive these threats. The game's moving around in a clockwise direction. Let's focus in on one of these stations. When you start the game, you've just got 1 card, this Nexus. Okay, and the cost of purchases are up in the top left. Okay, so you can go shopping and you can buy stuff. So this player here has purchased these 5 improvements to their station, and these tokens here are resources that those stations generate. Our Nexus here has production, and it generates a red, orange, green, blue and purple, and those are the resources that power your station there. Medical, security, energy, engineering, and purple are shields. Okay, and all the threats are going to be challenging your stations to produce those things. For example, this threat here, the malcontents, consumes orange, it consumes security, and in order to destroy this malcontent you need the blue ones, the engineering. So what that means is you're kind of playing against these threats. The threats are building up, okay, and they're consuming your resources, and your station is producing enough resources to satisfy these threats or defend against these threats. Okay, so that's the basic concept. But then we've got some supporting mechanisms like this, like these weapons lab here and this arboretum over here. They've each got a number of storage slots. Okay, so if this thing is producing shields or engineering, this slash means an or, so when you hit the production and this one produces, it's going to give you shields or engineering, you can choose. Well, you've only got a certain number of slots, so as this thing gets filled up, okay, you can't then produce any more. Okay, but you can upgrade these things, and that's what these tokens here are. This one's been upgraded twice to a ×3, this one's been upgraded once to a ×2. Okay, and every time you upgrade you pay the cost once more. Okay, and what that means is not only does it, in this case, double production or triple production, it also doubles or triples the storage. So you can see that you can build your station up and make it more efficient, not just by upgrading the improvements in your station, but buying new ones from the shop over here. Okay, these are the systems that you can buy. Okay, now let's get into a round of the game and see how this thing plays. And we've just reached the end of a round as it goes. The first player token is going to move around, and this is the captain. Right, who's the captain? And the captain, he's kind of the leader in this cooperative game, so he's the arbiter of all player decisions and disputes. When you receive this card, there's certain little resets that's going to happen. So we've just reached this point where the first player, so the play turn order goes round clockwise like this, and once it comes back to the captain again and he takes his turn, then he passes it to the next player to his left, and then she gets to be captain. Turn order goes round again till it gets back to the captain. They take one final turn and then they pass the captain card clockwise. Okay, so everyone gets to go at being captain, everyone gets to go at being first player. Alright, So the first thing we do when we've passed the captain card around, first player's move to the left, is we reset the shop. So all these upgrades that we could have purchased, like shield battery, the shield emitter and arms locker, they're no longer available for us to purchase. We put them back on the bottom and we deal out new ones, and it's one card for every player plus one. And there's handy little slots here that show you if you're playing 3-player, you just fill in these. If you're playing 4-player, you fill in the extra slot 5 and 6. Alright. This one produces engineering. This likewise here for the escort ship. This one produces shields. Okay, you can see they've got different amounts of storage space. Let's see how this plays out. Incidentally, these things here, they're kind of like lives or get out of jail frees. If you're about to lose the game and you can't satisfy one of the threats consumptions, you can spend one of these and that kind of let you off. We call them distress beacons. Right, so we start with 2 of these for the game, and they go with the captain. Only the captain can spend distress beacons. The dice, these are the things that give you income and allow you to buy stuff, but they also trigger the threats and they trigger the production. Now, as I said before, there's 2 phases of the game. There's the phase where we're going through the early threats, and once you've gone through the early threats and exhausted that deck, you start going through the late threats. Now when you're in the early threats, you're only rolling 1 die, but as we move into late threats, that's when we start rolling 2 dice. Okay, so you roll the dice and they give you a number. We've got 3. I think I described this as Machikoro in space. If you've seen the game Machikoro, where you roll the dice and whatever numbers come up triggers the production, it's the same kind of idea here. So the Nexus produces on a 1 or a 2, the weapons on a 2 or a 5, the Arboretum on a 4 or 9. Okay, so you get the idea? And obviously in the early game, when you're rolling 1 dice, then the Nexus is producing. But as you move into the late game, then the Nexus has reduced its probability. And that's kind of what these dots represent. They don't have any game function, but these little dots here, here's one for the weapons, it shows you the probability of rolling this production. So the more dots, the more they produce. And then the same principle for your threats. Okay, they have consume and then a number. So the politics here, consume on an 11 or a 12 2 resources. Now these white ones, they're kind of like wild cards. It says any resource, right? 2 of any resources. The malcontents on a 6 or 11 are going to consume security. Same for the boarding party. 5 or 8 consumes security. The anomaly here on a 6 and 12 is going to consume medical, or this is the / engineering. And the first thing we do, we rolled our dice. We run around all the threats looking for anything that consumes on a 3. So we've got nothing triggering here. We got 2 triggering up here. We've got politics and sabotage. Politics is going to consume any 2 resources. Sabotage is triggered on a 3. It's going to consume 1 engineering. Now, although it's this player's turn, okay, these threats are triggered. They're the only players that can provide the resources that this threat consumes are the 2 players to the left and the right of that threat. See how the threats are played in between each player. So these threats are going to impact these 2 players. These threats are going to impact these 2 players, and likewise here. Right? And that's really neat, because what it means is each player at the table is having a different game experience. You know, this player's focusing on these threats and these threats, not those. There are exceptions. Remember, the repair pod said you could spend contents for any player. So this is where he could use the engineering stored here to satisfy another player's threats. Let's do this one first. Sabotage needs engineering, the blue one. We've got quite a lot down here. So I think I'll take... There's lots of space here. So let's take this one. And this is the thing, when you're trying to take resources, make sure you're taking them from places where, you know, if this one produces, in a moment it's full, so it wouldn't do anything. So I'm going to take one from any full storage spots. So that's a good idea. So that satisfies sabotage. And then we've got politics, any two resources. And this player up here doesn't have too much, so I'm going to leave that one. Whereas down here, well, I know this one, the singularity drive, is going to produce this phase. It produces on 3s and 7s. So is the force field. I'm going to take one of these red ones. Okay, that satisfies politics. Alright, so that's those ones done. Then move around. Any other 3s? Yeah, we've got one here from the Raider. And he's got a ×2 on it. So that means it's been upgraded at some point. If we look at some of the threats that have been played out, we have reinforcements. When this threat comes up, it says upgrade the most recent threat in this section. Okay? And that's how this thing has managed to get its ×2. So we've got to activate this twice. So it's an orange or a purple. And we've got to do that twice. So for the first one, I'm going to take a shield from the cornucopia, and then I think the orange, and yeah, I'm going to take security from power armor down here. So that's satisfied that one. Now we come back to the captain. So we've triggered all the threats. Now we get to trigger our production. So again, I'll just go clockwise. 1 or 2. I'm looking for anything that triggers on the 3. Yeah, there we go. The shield generator produces on the 3. Produces 2 shields. Going clockwise. Yep, we got some here. We have the singularity drive produces energy and engineering. Oh, 1 energy, 1 engineering. And then also the force field up here produces energy. And this one's quite nice. What it says, I can spend 2 energy as a shield. Alright, so it's got like a special effect. So if I run out of shields, I could always use 2 energies. Energies are kind of the most common resource, and you can use them to buy stuff as well. Kind of like the currency of the game. That's everything here. And then lastly, we've got the war rings producing security or shields. And the good thing is it's got a ×2 on it, so it's going to trigger this one twice the production. And I think we'll take security both times. So we've rolled our dice, we've activated our threats, we've activated our systems. Now we can purchase some improvements. Now how much money we've got to spend is 3. And we can spend it twice. You can buy 1 improvement with each die, or you can combine them and buy 1 improvement with both. So I could buy an improvement for 1, an improvement for 2, or a single improvement for 3. But with each one of those purchases you can also add in the energies. Alright, for every energy that you spend, you can add 1 to the die. So let's say I want to go off to the shop and buy this recycler. It costs just 1. But let's say I wanted to buy the escort ship. That costs 4. So I've got a couple of ways of paying for the escort ship. I could put 3 towards it from my dice and then 1 energy. So I could put that in there. Yeah, one of these. That gets 4. 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. Pays for that. Or I could just use 1 die and then add 2 in, pay for that, and then I've got 1 left over and I could buy the recycler. As it goes, I don't want the escort ship. Triggers on a 2 or a 5. Good for the early game, not so good for late. But that's just one thing you can do, buy improvements. So let's buy the recycler. Alright, we'll add that to our system. It does have quite a large footprint, this game, as you're adding things into your system. But the other thing I can do, I've still got my 2 left, is instead of buying something at the shop and adding to your systems, you could upgrade. So for 2, I could upgrade my Nexus. It costs 2. Right, and put a 2 on ×2. Now its production is doubled and its storage is doubled. Now as it goes, I don't want to upgrade the Nexus. With 2 dice, it's unlikely that you'll roll a 1 or a 2. You can't roll a 1. But it might be good to upgrade the recycler, potentially. Okay, because that's only going to cost 1. So I could spend the 2. That covers the cost. There's no change. I can't use the 1 unspent to do something else. Okay, so it's 1 die, 1 improvement. And then I could upgrade the recycler. But I don't want to do that either. Okay, there's a third thing you can do with your income. And that's destroy threats. Now in the late game, destroying threats is always a good idea. And there's one here that I'm particularly concerned about, because we haven't got much between these two players. Remember, these threats are hitting both these players. We haven't got much in the way of security, so I'd quite like to get rid of one of these two. The boarding party activates on a 5 or an 8, malcontents on a 6 or 11. And if you know your probabilities, then you'll know that this one's more likely. But have a quick look at the dots. Alright, remember, these are an indication of how probable they are of activating. So I'd like to take out this boarding party. To destroy this boarding party is going to cost me 6, but I've only got 2. It's also going to cost me 1 shield. So first thing is I'm going to have to add 4 onto my die roll. Remember, I can use green to do that. So I might grab... Well, the Arboretum's full, so let's take 2 from here. That gives me 4. If I look over to my left here, we've got... This player's got the power crystal. So I'm actually going to take 2 from here. And add those on. So now I've got 2, 4, 6. That's enough to pay the cost to destroy the boarding party, and I also need a shield. Now, as it goes, when you're destroying a threat here, either player to left and right can help pay the cost. So I can take the shield from either here or here. I'm going to take it from here as it goes. And that's destroyed the boarding party. So keep that in mind, alright? A threat that sits between two players, not only do they consume their resources, but either player can contribute to destroying them, even when it's not their turn. And when you destroy a threat, you turn it face down. Now, the only reason you turn it face down and keep it on the board is if it's the last threat that was played, because if one of these reinforcements comes along, it says if the last threat to come into a sector, remember that's the one it's upgrading, is destroyed, then it gets turned face up. So these things can come back once you've destroyed them. This one's never going to come back because it's not the latest threat. Okay? So that's always going to stay there until a new threat comes out. So I can just discard this one. And that's it. I've spent both my dice. Remember, 2 dice at most, 2 improvements. I bought one and I destroyed a threat. Now, the final thing you do on your turn is you draw a new threat. And we've only got 4 left, so we're near the end. We draw this and we place it in the section to our left. And we get a crisis. Oh my goodness, this is a bad one. It only activates on a 4, so it's not that likely, but look what it consumes. Lots. And it takes a lot to destroy it. So we've destroyed a threat and a new one's come along. And we'll move this token over here to say this is the latest threat now. If anything upgrades, it'll be this one. So we can discard this. And then we pass the dice to our left. This player's turn. So it's really neat. When you're figuring out what you're going to buy, where are you going to take the resources from? I mean, as we're heading into the end game here, things are starting to get a little bit short in supply. So let's start again. So we roll. We got a 5. We activate threats. There's a 5 up here, the killer robots. It's a nasty one. What's the orange and the blue? Security and engineering. We've got the war room. I'll take a security from there, and I'll take a blue from down here, from the singularity drive. Yep, that's good. Right, then no problems there. And this is the thing, some of these things you can think, right, I've got them covered, because every time a 5 comes up, you know, if you've got something that produces security and engineering on 5, then you know they've always got this covered, because this will consume and then this will produce. Do you see what I mean? So there's nice ways when you're doing a purchases of figuring out, you know, you purchase in response to the threats that are out there. And, you know, I love that mechanism. It makes this quite an analytical game. Anything else of 5? Yeah, we got shields and securities from the pirates. See, consumes on a 5, consumes security and shields. I'm going to take them both from here. The war room's going to produce. We'll take the purple from the cornucopia. No more threats up in that sector. Come down here. No, nothing from here. Excellent. Production now. Right, force field produces on a 3 to 5. So 3, 4 or 5. 1 energy. Let's build him up. The infirmary here produces on a 4 or a 5. 1 medical. And then the power crystal, and this one's upgraded times 2. It's producing on a 5 to 8. So 1 energy twice. 1, 2. Each one of those slots is going to store 2 because of the upgrade. Alright. Next, this player. Yep, war rooms. War rooms are good. We've upgraded them, so I can choose orange or purple. Security or shields. Let's put 1 security. Let's do 2 security. 2 security. And then we've got the force field, producing on a 5, 6 or 8, gives an energy. Trading post I like when this triggers on a 6 or 7, you can move it. It's got the wild card, any resource from any player's card to this card. On an 8 or 9, move any resource from this card to any player's card, and it's got storage for any 3 types of resources. It's pretty neat, huh? So the trading post is a nice way to move resources around. I like that card. Now this player, we've got the weapons lab triggering. Just the weapons lab. This one's nice, the interceptor. It doesn't fire very often, but on an 11 or a 12, on 11 is a close attack. You can remove an upgrade from an adjacent enemy card. And a 12 is a long range attack. Remove an upgrade from any, or discard a threat. Same for this one, discard a threat. Okay, so you get a nice cheap way of removing threats. Interceptor's good, expensive. And I've upgraded this, so I can do that twice if that triggers. As it goes, we've got the weapons lab triggering twice, and I've noticed we're in a bit of a sticky situation. I've got no engineering, he's got no engineering, but we've got 2 threats up here which could trigger engineering, so we consume engineering, so that could destroy us. So let's go and get, let's produce 2 engineering. Takes up 1 storage spot. Excellent. That's where this would have been handy, the repair pod on a 2 or a 5. Engineering spend for any player. Nice. Alright, so upgrade time. 5 to spend. I think I will buy that repair lab just in case. So let's use 1 energy in the 3. This, because I can spend this for any player. It only triggers on a 2 and a 5, so unlikely. But 5 comes up quite a lot. And with my 2, I'd like to get rid of a threat. Anything that consumes orange, maybe these malcontents. Yeah, let's get rid of these. They consume on a 6 or 11. 6 isn't so bad because the power armor produces orange on a 6, 11 would be bad. So let's get rid of this. So that's 2. We'll use these 3. Now let's use 2. Let's use 2 of these. 1 from over here. In the force field. That's 5. And then we also need engineering to get rid of the malcontents. We've got plenty of this up at the engineering lab. Actually, yeah, engineering lab. Yeah, let's gotten rid of this. Brilliant. That we can discard it. Draw a new threat. This one, oh, reinforcements. That's to our left. That's this sector here. So we're going to reinforce the killer robots, the ones that came in last. Now they are looking dodgy. Okay, pass the dice, play at the top, 8, got 2 triggering here, radiation and space debris. Space debris needs engineering, radiation, medicine or shield, twice. And let's take 2 medical from up here, that covers that one. Yeah, we need a blue. Let's take it from the weapons lab. Okay. This sector We've got nothing triggering, nothing on an 8, that's good. This sector's looking pretty neat. And up here, we've got a couple. Hallucinations and sabotage. Hallucinations twice. On a 1 or an 8, this is consuming security. We've got 2 up here. And then sabotage. 1 engineering. Has to come down from the engineering lab. Or anything with an 8 that's producing. No, let's take it from here. Okay, that's looking dodgy. I don't like these. Right, that's threats all activated. Now our systems. 888. We've got the trading posts. Move a resource from this card, but there aren't any on it. Force field. You want energy on an 8. That's full there. 8's not a particularly good number. Got nothing covering 8s down here. No, nothing for that player. We do have some stuff here though. We have the power crystal twice, that's 2 energy. I've got quite a few 7s and they've not come up. But this is 5 to 8, this is a 7, this is a 7. Never mind. Cornucopia, an 8 or a 9. What shall I choose? Security, I think. That's full. Now improvements. If I get rid of that killer robot, I think I'm going to have to... The 6. It also needs shields, which we don't have. But we do have the force field. It says I can spend 2 energy as a shield. Let's take that. All that's done in destroying that. We don't destroy it, we just remove the upgrade. Okay, we have to destroy it again to get rid of it. So those killer robots are nasty. Do I want to get rid of them? No, but hallucination is going to cause me a problem. I need to get that one down. So that's a 2. And grab 2 energy from our power crystal. That gives us 4. We also need medical. Take it from the infirmary. Get rid of that upgrade. Okay, that's our improvements done. We draw a threat. That's going in here. It's an alien virus. It consumes on a 7 or a 10, so yeah, pretty potent. But we're back to the captain, and this is the last round of the game. Here we go. A good roll. It's a 7. Let's see. Nothing activating here. Yeah, we've got the malfunction up here. That consumes on a 4 or 7, and it's looking for shields. Sorry, take them from our Nexus. Any 7s up here? Yeah, the alien virus that we just got. Wants medical. Got one. That's there we got a couple, that's good. I'm pretty sure 7s are good for our system activation. No 7s here, we've got a few over here. Yeah, so we've got a power crystal activating twice, 2 energy. Then we've got singularity drive, giving us some energy and engineering, good. And then a luck generator 3 times. And the good thing about this one is its special ability. I can spend the contents to re-roll all dice. And finally at the top here, we've got a medical at the hospital. And then our trading posts. Move anything from any player's card to this card. What these 2 guys not got. Let's take a shield. Put a shield up here. Yeah, I think we'll just finish up by destroying these pirates up here. Cost 5 plus a blue. And then with our 1, I don't know, let's upgrade our shield generator, shall we? Times 2. Then we draw a final threat. Reinforcements. This becomes a times 2. Finally, all you need to do is survive one more threat roll. We've got a 10. So that's any 2 resources from politics. Let's grab these 2. Then nothing activating up here. Finally, we got 2 or 3 over here. Nasty. The Starquake is bad. It's blue and a purple. And we got a purple here, but we're stuck for blue. Yeah, properly stuck. Okay, let's do something else. Let's use the luck generator. It's the only thing to do, isn't it? We'll spend one of these and re-roll our dice. Well, I guess we could have used a distress, but I'd like to have got through with two beacons left. Alright, we've got a 12 now. Okay, so this one is not going to activate, but this one is. Okay, so let's use our 2 energy here. A red or a blue. We've got a blue. I don't think anything's here is going to... No, there's no 12s here, but we've got one here. It's an orange and a blue. Security and engineering. And we should have those covered. Yeah, we got one from the Singularity Drive and one from the Cornucopia. We've done it, guys. We've made it. Yes! Victory! And that, my friends, is Frontier Stations. Really good, nice solitaire, nice co-op, nice analytical game. Lots of fun, lots of action, quick to play. A whole stack of different systems that are available, and I like all the different abilities that each one of these gives. And you're going to get such a different game each time as well, because you're removing some of the threats from the deck, right? So even the systems, although you've got a thick deck of systems, the threats that come up are going to be different each time as well, because of the variability of these 2 decks, the late and the mid and the early. I really like it. Lovely, neat ideas. Congratulations to Jeremy Leonard for a beautiful design. Love it, love it. That's it for now. See you next time.